Thanks for joining me for a listen to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers' Moanin'. It's a hard bop classic. I've got the video queued up right here, and I'm going to start it in 3, 2, 1, now. The song begins with this call and response figure. There's a little melody here, and then the 2 hits. Bum, bum, from the rest of the band. Now you've got the trumpet and saxophone stating the theme, the call, and then the response comes from the whole band. And here they're shifting gears. The whole band's playing together. It's not call and response anymore through this little bridge section here before they return to the original call and response theme of the song. And one of the interesting things about the form of this song is that when the solos come, there's a whole new set of chords that exist just for the solo sections for all the artists. And we'll start with Lee Morgan. You can hear that Lee Morgan wastes no time coming out of the gate hot. This really bright brass sound. But now something interesting happens here. To my ear, this is a much cooler tone. One of the fun things is to really listen to Lee Morgan switch back and forth between these voices. Again, here's that hot brassy sound. This is something I really love about Lee Morgan's playing on this song. Hard bop in general is fun to listen to if you think about the way the musicians are interacting with one another. But here Lee Morgan has kind of split his personality into at least a couple pieces, and we can hear this conversation with himself. That little line there was a quote from Clifford Brown, I believe. And that leads us into a third voice here. This almost sounds like a trombone line that's scooped. Wow, wow. And here's a nice handoff. Saxophonist Benny Golson takes the last little phrase from Lee Morgan and uses that to begin his solo. Listen to all the space Benny Golson leaves in his playing in the beginning here. This is a more typical arc for a solo in that Benny Golson's starting slow, trying out some ideas, and then it is going to really ramp up the intensity over the next few times through the changes here. One of the interesting things to listen for too, remember that Art Blakey is the leader after all. If you hear his drum hit on these backbeats, pop, 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 depending on what's happening in the saxophone solo here, I really get the feeling that Art Blakey's trying to hold it back and really assert the time and restrain Benny Golson from getting too carried away. As you can hear, he's really using a lot of the range of the saxophone, a lot of notes in rapid succession, running up and down these scales. And again, it feels like, to me, Art Blakey is really, really assertive and insistent and trying to hold it all together right now. And again, in a traditional arc, Benny Golson's dialing it back a little bit before the handoff to Bobby Timmons. Here, Bobby Timmons has already been through a couple feels. He started off just soloing primarily with chords, then had some sort of bluesy sounding lines, and now he's using a lot of bebop idiom. Now we're back to more of a bluesy idea. And this almost just feels like showing off some things that can be done on the piano and not on any of the other instruments. Those big glissandos are just grabbing the keys and pulling down to lower notes. You can hear that the sort of intensity of Bobby Timmons' solo has increased too. There was so much space in the beginning, and now he's really, really going. Now we had the handoff to Jimmy Merritt. Jimmy Merritt ended up becoming super important in the development of jazz after hard bop. He really came up with his own unique style of composition and chord substitution with a band called the Forerunners. And actually that method became known as Forerunner. But think about the bass solo here, this long bass solo. Not something you'd hear in bebop, particularly, for a lot of reasons. Hard bop is really a time for bassists to shine. This was true in the big band era as well. Sort of a return to prominence for bassists. And now we're back to Bobby Timmons restating the call and response. Last time through the call and response section as the song is winding down. Nine and a half minutes in length, and really everybody got to assert their individual personality. It's worth it to go back and listen to the whole thing to hear how Art Blakey does it, because he doesn't take a solo. But we'll leave it at that for now. Bobby Timmons on a little bluesy flourish at the end there. It's his song, why not? Thanks for joining me for Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers Moanin'.